Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fire Force Chapter 258, I believe. Yep. When we last left our heroes, we were reintroduced to Rekka, or his doppelganger at the very least, as we saw how desperately Kareem wanted to believe that Rekka was, sometime after their friendship started, led astray by the evangelist, and was heartbroken to realize that Rekka was always a white-clad, first and foremost. We also saw spent some time with the fight against DoppelHague, which led some questions about if the doppelgangers are based on perception of the individual, why is Hague killing his own men, but we didn't really have too much time to dig into, before we headed back with Arthur and Vulcan, to do something at Company 8 HQ, which seems to be the focus of this week's chapter, Chapter 258, The Trial to Save the World. And our picture here is of Arthur in a robe. On the path of the Night King, if thou overcomest the hardships before thee, thou shalt be a true king. So yeah, we open kind of where we left off, with Arthur entering the cathedral, the Shrine of Awakening. A time of tribulations. Arthur returns. What trial awaits him? Because, yeah, we really don't have any sense of what Arthur is doing here. At least specifically. We know he's, broad strokes. This has something to do with defeating Dragon. But we don't really know what. And Arthur says, so this is the Shrine of Awakening. It seems nobody's here. And Vulcan just tells him, well, yeah, everybody's out there. And then Vulcan looks at him, just, kind of concerned, as Arthur says, onward. When I overcome this trial, I'll be a man worthy of the true Excalibur. And as they're kind of walking through the halls, Vulcan says, hey Arthur, what is it, O Merlin? Why would you come back here in the middle of the cataclysm? What exactly are you planning to do here? Is this really the right call? And then Arthur tells him, indeed, the path of the Night King leads here. The trial will take place in a realm of good and evil. And Vulcan asks, a realm of good and evil? Here. It's his own room, him and Shinra's room. I see. So you're the good and Shinra's the evil. Okay, I'm still really confused as to where this is all leading to. Good and evil is not a reference to anything mystical, it's just Shinra and Arthur's rivalry. And then Arthur, breaking character all of a sudden, refers to Vulcan as Vulcan. Vulcan, have you braced yourself for this? And Vulcan just looks at him. I mean, it's your room. I can't imagine what the problem would be. Quite reassuring. And Arthur opens the door, and Vulcan looks in, and it's just their room. It's pretty clean, as Vulcan points out. Wow, it's tidier than I expected. Shinra's always cleaning up the place. And Vulcan smiles kind of sadly. Shinra, he disappeared so suddenly. And Arthur tells him, evil always endures, so you don't need to worry about him. That's that's a way to frame that you're confident he's alright. Evil doesn't die. He'll be fine. But yeah. There's still no telling what exactly they're doing here. And apparently there's been some time that's passed, as Vulcan says, hey Arthur, you've been rummaging around for a while now. What's the deal? Trial preparations. This is the trial? And it's some kind of electronic. We see a power button. As Arthur with, heavenly light behind him. Indeed. That is what I've left undone. As long as this trial lay incomplete, I cannot draw out the true strength of true Excalibur. I become a Night King here and now. And that's why I need you, Vulcan. Vulcan, lend me your wisdom. Is it gonna be a video game or something? And Vulcan just stunned, but this... It's a Super Nintendo, isn't it? Yeah, it's Dragon Question. Which, I mean, let's break this down for a sec. that means that, like, Super Nintendo survived the cataclysm. I mean, okay. Okay. Jesus did not, but Dragon Quest did. What a fucking world Fire Force is set in. My god. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we're going with this, Arthur. Dragon Question. Start, continue. Like the load screen. The title screen. Dragon Question. A great trial prepared by the gods of Eld. Inexperienced as I am, I was too weak-willed to overcome it. And Arthur, like, takes off his coat and grabs the controller. Of course, the final boss, Dragon the Scale King. How could I expect to wield true Excalibur without defeating him? And Vulcan is just like, what the fuck? I love how seemingly reserved he is. Just like the slightest tilt of his eyebrow is just, is he serious? On my own, I couldn't make any progress. I require your wisdom, Merlin. Aid me. And Vulcan has almost bought into it looks like. The fate of the world is riding on a video game. And then Vulcan, knowing, admittedly, that buying into the delusion is where Arthur gets his power from. But he turns to Arthur. It must have been fate that I, your humble servant Merlin, was born, so that I could be here to guide you. Then we see some more time has passed as Arthur has died again. God damn it! This boss is just a pseudo-dragon, and yet it's so strong. And Vulcan, like, starting to sweat now. Maybe a little nervous that, like, they're not going to finish this in time. It's definitely a stronger attacker than your enemies until now. Your character can't survive its attacks. And we see, like, Arthur, like, drinking some soda. I upgraded my gear, too, and I still can't win. And Vulcan's, like, munching on what looks like pizza? I'm not super knowledgeable in this kind of game, but what if you use some of the abilities they give you? Like magic, or a buff or something? A buff! I do remember Tristan was able to use stat buffs. Kabuff is the name of the spell, by the way. And then Vulcan asked, what if you focus that on the main character? You ought to be able to send up the pseudo-dragon's attacks then. That's it! And speaking of buffs, we then segue into Pawn, which might be one of my favorite transitions I've ever seen. Like, sure, I guess that works. Buff stacking, wheat, fourfold berserk. And we see, now we're like back into serious mode right away. We see like capillaries, I think they are, like around it, like bulging by his eye. As Corrine is just kind of shocked. And Hague goes for another axe strike. And Pons yells at him, "You're ruining the dignity of Captain Hague, you counterfeit!" And Hague goes to slam the axes into Pons' collarbone. But Pon just grabs Hague's arm. The axe can't go in. And then, I'm trying to work out what exactly happens here. It looks like he, like, crushes Hague's wrists or something, making him let go of the axes. It did do some damage to Pon from the looks of it. Pon is, like, bleeding, but not as deep as it would be. And then Pons delivers a full-on kick into Hague's chest. Fweet! I don't think that's not what a whistle sounds like, but it's what I can make with my mouth. And we see this, like, what looks like a tornado of fire emanating from Pons' fist. Yeah. And then he just brings it into Hague, rending multi-stacked drill. Oh, it's a drill. And it, like, cuts a literal hole through Hague. And Hague is just bisected. He just kind of dies like that. Alright, I guess we're never going to work out why DoppelHague was so different from real Hague. But okay. And then Pon says, "Fui tome, like la tome." You're not Captain Hague. Just a distorted memory out to hurt people. And Corrine is just stunned. Incredible. And then back with Arthur and Vulcan, they just high five. Let's go. We can finally move on. which I guess is a parallel. The fake is defeated in both the game and real life, and now they can move onward. But the trial to save the world isn't over yet. That's interesting. There's no to be continued in chapter 259 at all. It's just like not there. Next week's chapter title is just not there. And I don't know if that's like a translator oversight or if the magazine just didn't have it. So Jamie, if you're watching, please let me know in the comments. I'm kind of curious. Because like if it is a magazine thing, why not have it? I don't know. I can't really work out any reasons unless like surprise hiatus or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about this chapter because ooh boy is it something. The Dragon Quest thing is just so Arthur, but also so weird. And honestly, if it were anyone, it makes sense that it's Vulcan, not just because of Vulcan was the one who forged Excalibur, who forged the new Excalibur in the first place, but also because Vulcan is the only one who has ever really dived into Arthur's fantasies so fully. It was the whole point of the Excalibur thing. We saw it in the Hyjima arc over and over again. Vulcan is the one who just, innately understands that Arthur needs to believe his delusions for his powers to work. And so no one else would have stopped the plot to play Dragon Quest with a delusional teenager. But Vulcan would. And honestly, there's something about their final panel, their like little high five at the end there, that's just so good. It's just so good, and I love it so much. They're just bros. They are just bros playing some Dragon Quest at the end of the world. I honestly, the more I think about it, the more I love it. It's just so Arthur. It's so, just kind of offbeat. It's the exact kind of thing this disaster child would do at the end of the world. And maybe somehow it will contribute to defeating Dragon. Maybe. I mean, in any other series, I'd be like, no way. But you know what? Fire Force might make the key to beating a powerful villain being really good at Dragon Quest. Or maybe there's an extra layer of the parallel here. Because the clear parallel in this chapter is, of course, the Dragon Quest fight with the pseudo-dragon and Pan versus Hog. But what if, much like Arthur needs to use buffing to beat the pseudo-dragon in the game, and Pan needs to buff to beat Hog, what if Pan has to buff Arthur to beat Dragon, and that's the secret? I mean, that's the most sensible thing. That's the most sensible solution to all of these problems. However, this is Fire Force, and Fire Force has never really given a damn about sensibility, so we'll see. We will see how that all plays out. But yeah, it's a chapter that when we first saw Dragon Quest, I was kind of a little cold on. But the more I look at it again, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is just the perfect kind of Fire Force weirdness. I mean, all of it, from it just being Dragon Quest, from Dragon Quest still existing after the apocalypse, which, like, there's something kind of Japanese about Dragon Quest is more enduring than Jesus. But, like, okay, alright. And then, yeah, even, like, the fight with Hog, I haven't really touched on too much, but it is kind of simple. It's just, Pan is real buff. Pan has buffed himself so much that Hog just kind of goes down pretty easy. It's a simple thing. And it really only works because it's tied in with Dragon Quest, which is a weird thing to say, but is kind of true. But yeah, this is definitely a chapter. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's going on next. Honestly, there are many ways it could go. Without a chapter title, I just don't know where we're going next. I mean, it could be the continuing adventures of the Dragon Quest boys. Or we could see more of the Rekka fight. I'm trying to think of anything else going on right now. I mean, something new could pop up at any moment. There are a lot of things that could happen. But yeah, what a fucking chapter this was. I'm all here for it. But that's all I have to say for this video. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. You know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!